بالله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Common experience is that we find that when law enforcement apprehends criminals, even though they themselves be fully armed, fully armored, they approach the criminals with a lot of care and caution because they are afraid, there's fear there, that the criminals might be armed, that they might have some weapons, hidden weapons, that they could use to harm the law enforcement agents. And so, when they approach them, what is the first thing they say is, hands up. Let's see your hands. They want to make sure that they're able to disarm them before they're able to approach them. This is something that's common experience. And so, what is the mantak, the logic behind that is that for all your enemies, you want to disarm them. You want to make sure that what is the most dangerous to you, your well-being, yourself, you make sure the other entity doesn't have it. So when we think about our own enemies, and which one is our greatest enemy, Allah Ta'ala mentions in the Quran, Azim that Shaitan is that entity which is Adubu Mubin, which is the greatest enemy that insan has. Right? So the insan is always attacking insaniyat because it swore by the izzah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it will do whatever in his power, whatever is in his power to make sure that he derails us, to make sure that he misguides us, to make sure that we do not or we are not able to achieve what he was not able to achieve, that qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being a true abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He couldn't achieve that. Even though he had ibadat, he had zikr, he had ilm, he had ma'rifah, he had all of that. But despite all of that, the lack of ishq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sure that he never became a true abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he tries the same thing. And what does he do? When he approaches his enemy, for him, we are the enemies. Right? For him, we are the enemies. For him, we are the reason, you and I are the reason that he was rejected and dejected from the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so today, we came across the ayah that when Shaitan attacks a person, what does he do? He makes sure that he disarms insaniyat from the thing that he is most afraid of. And what did we hear today in Surah Mujadila? Istahwaz alayhim shaitan. That when Shaitan dominates, overcomes them, what does he do? فَأَنْسَاهُمْ ذِكْرَ اللَّهِ. That he makes sure, hands up, he disarms us. He makes sure that we have or we are in a state of nisyan. What is nisyan? Heedlessness. Bhul jana. Forgetfulness. From what? Zikrullah. From the zikr or remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that if we don't have enough zikr in our lives, we are in grave danger because now we're disarmed, right? So Shaitan can approach us without any fear whatsoever. It also shows us that now that our first kind of defenses are down, it means that everything else is in grave danger as well, right? So now that the dhikr is not there, it means that all of our fara'id and wajibat and sunnah and all of those are in grave danger. That Shaitan will make sure that he plucks them. Just like you pluck fruit from the tree, one by one, that he makes sure, okay, well, just leave this. It's okay, it's just a nafal. Well, you can leave that. That's just a sunnah. You can leave that. I mean, it's just a wajib, it's not fard. You can leave that farz, mashallah, you have done so much in your life. What difference does it make if you leave one? So slowly and steadily, one by one, all of our ibadat are plucked away. Right? And this, person becomes engulfed in this state of nisyan. What is the other word that the Quran uses for nisyan? Right? The state of heedlessness, ghafla. Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَا تَكُمْ مِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ. Do not become amongst those who are in a state of ghafla. Right? And so Shaitan makes sure that we are engulfed in that state of ghafla. Ghaflat is the root cause of all the sins. It really is. When we are in a state of ghaflat, it is then that we find the audacity to do all the sins that we hold so dear to our nafs. Right? We're able to do that. When we're in a state of remembrance, Abu Bason, nobody's going to do anything wrong. Right? Because now we are in a state of what? Awareness. As soon as Abu Gay, ghaflat. Right? Same thing. When we have that presence and awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it becomes extremely easy to stay away from sins and disobedience. And when that heedless or when that remembrance is not there, then it also becomes extremely easy to sin and be disobedient. And so the second ayah that was read today, and mashallah, alhamdulillah, Quran is just a book of gems, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses people of Iman. Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu. That all those people who profess to Iman, La tulhikum amwalukum wa la awladukum an dhikrillah. Do not let these things, this is how Shaitan makes us heedless. Amwalukum wa la awladukum, right? Usually it's our wealth, it's our material possessions, it's the material attraction that puts a person in ghaflat. Itna paisa kama lo, itna ye kar lo, itna ye. All of our lives, day and night, we are running after. Day and night. We know that we'll have to leave it behind. It's just we can't stop it. It's that addiction. With heroin addiction that, they know it's bad, but they still can't stop. So we are exactly in the state of addiction of dunya. We are suffering from addiction of dunya. Anytime it's taken away from it, we go into that withdrawal symptoms. Kidhar hai dunya? Dunya. And that's the second thing is, the second excuse, it's my kids. Why don't you come to the majlis? It's the family, it's this and this. Job or family? It's either job or family. Why don't you spend time in dhikr? Job or family? Why don't you gain ilm? Job and family. Right? Why don't you give dawat ilallah? Job and family. Right? All of these, these are just excuses, and we're not the first generation making it. This is azal se abad tak. It's like the same excuses. Right? And so what is this? This is really what people do. And this is what Shaitan has made us do. When he becomes dominant, ghalib, upon us, it's the same excuses. And Allah Ta'ala says, don't let these things distract you. Don't let these things make you forgetful and heedless towards dhikrullah. And whoever does this, ulaika humul khasirun. They're at grave loss. Not even just like any loss. This is like grave loss. It's like a stock market crash. Right? After that, the economy crashes, everything else crashes with it. So this is like a grave loss for insaniyat, who go into the state of slumber. Allah ko bhul jana, isse bada kya zulm hai? Aur Allah ko yaad rakhna, isse badhkar kya saadat hogi? So inshallah ta'ala, in these last few days of Ramadan that we are going through, and these last few odd nights Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, what do? We remind ourselves again that, we were sent in this dunya for a very different kind of life and lifestyle. We were sent in this dunya for a very different purpose to find meaning in. Truly, is this how we want to live our lives? And is this how we want to die, in this state? If not, खेतों को दे लो पानी के बह रही है गंगा, कुछ कर लो नौजवानों उड़ती जवानियां हैं. There's still time. There's still time to change, to transform, and no better time than Ramadan to do it. So if we have this conviction if we are resolute, if we have this resolution to change, transform, to grow, to develop, to become something than we are, something more than that. Yeah? That's what progress is. I'm not happy with the way I am in my relationship with Allah Ta'ala. I want to do something else, something more. This is the time to make that niyyah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us make the right niyyah at the right time for the right reason. Ameen ya Rabbul Alameen wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.